So along the way, we realized we've done a really poor job of explaining the vision for um, this service and how we see it, not just impacting your ministry, hopefully helping to lighten your load a little bit and all the things that you have to do, but truly transforming your ministry and transforming your community for Christ. And that was kind of the motivating factor in building this. I told some of y'all before, but a few years ago, we read a study that said 96% of this generation would not follow Christ, which means 4% would. And as we've done some studies and data recently and research, we're finding that a lot of communities are right at that 4%. Now, some of you may be closer to 10 to 15% because you maybe live in a town where the church is kind of still centrally part of the community. But for the most part, a lot of us are right at that 4% mark of kids connected to the church. And that's a problem. And we want to see that change. We realize if it's going to change, we're going to all have to be a little more probably, I guess, detail oriented, put in a lot of work, and at the same time, knowing we don't have a lot of time necessarily because of families, extra responsibilities, and sometimes just the nature of the world we live in. There's a lot of things to overcome. And so we're working towards building this tool with that goal being, again, your communities transformed for Christ and those other 96% of those kids that aren't connected to church get connected to your church. And so with all that, with that overcoming idea, I want to start this series of videos with this idea of removing barriers. See, every kid that doesn't come to church, there is a reason. There is a barrier. We need to think about what those barriers are, what's keeping them from coming. And we've been trying to think through that and then go, okay, what tools can we build? What things can we do to remove those excuses? And one of the biggest barriers we find is kids getting a ride to church. Whether they're a church kid or, whether their parents go to church or their parents don't go to church, that getting a ride thing can be a big struggle and a big issue. And that includes, being in an urban or rural area. So what we've done is we built a tool we felt it's going to help. Now, you're going to notice this layout may look different than your ministry website you currently have from us. And that's just because we're in the midst of tweaking and changing some things. So you'll get a sneak preview of some stuff that's to come. But we've got this Get a Ride app that you can turn on from the youth ministry admin console, the little gear icon. And all it is it's a simple form that students fill out with their information and any friends that may be coming with them. And once they do that, they click Find a Ride. It is going to bring up a list of people that are approved drivers for your ministry. So they have been background checked, they have gone through your training process, and it's got their text. If they're assuming they're probably on a phone, they can text them, call them, or email them and get a hold of them and get a ride to church. Now, the other thing it does is it's not just your approved list. It goes through and checks for things like, if it's a middle school girl, it's not going to put a single guy on the list. So all those issues that you can see creeping up, it takes care of that. It also tries to rank them because our other goal and vision for this is we want kids connected to the church before they ever step foot in the door. Because once they have that connection, they're coming back. And so we want to give them that reason to come back. And so, for example, let's say this parent has a sixth grade girl at a certain middle school. And the person filling out this Find a Ride form also is a sixth grade girl at that middle school. Well, it's going to try to pair them up. So guess what? They're riding to church together. They're making a friendship. They're making a connection. The other great thing is since this is all mobile friendly, your kids can pull out their devices. And for some reason, they're not going to church that night, or they just can't give this person a ride. They can sit there and go, but hey, guess what? I want to find you a ride. I know this person. They'll be awesome. I'll even meet you at their house in our car, and we'll all follow together. And so they've got that relationship building going on. And so it's those things we're going to do and remove those barriers. For us, it was finding a ride. There may be other barriers for you. And I hope that some of these tools that we're building will help you in that, because we want to, again, take away any excuse a kid has for not being at church, being connected to church. And we think this one's going to be a big step. But I encourage you, as you think about transforming your ministry in this next year, what barriers are keeping kids from coming to church? And how can you overcome those? Because a barrier is not like a period at the end of the sentence. It's just sort of like a comma to me, a pause in the middle, and then there's this but. So here's the barrier, but what do we do? And so what's your but? What do you need to do? Because I found whatever those excuses or reasons are, when you put the work in, when we pray, when we seek God, those things can be overcome. But whether it's their parents don't come to church, well, guess what? The kid will come without them. Whether they can't get a ride, let's build a tool. So what are those barriers for you? How can you overcome them? And more importantly, I would say, how can we help you overcome them? and then in turn help other churches do the same thing.